What is going on, kings and queens of this wonderful wonderland that we call YouTube? Today we have a very, very special countdown video. Not only is it two countdown videos back to back, but it's a countdown video that I've never done before, and I'm really excited to do. Uh, what I mean by this is that this countdown has nothing to do with the normal subject matter of this channel, being video games or movies or anything like that. In this countdown video, we're actually counting down and tackling music, which is a very, very big part of my life. Actually, to be completely honest, video games, any kind of comedy or entertainment, and heavy metal music kind of make up the triforce of my life. Insert Legend of Zelda references here, I guess. Link would be so proud. But yeah, anyway, I'm a major, major metalhead. I love everything about it. So I thought, I've been listening to a lot of heavy metal music lately, as I always do, and I came across a couple bands, specifically that I wanted to kind of rank and put into a countdown video. So, with all that being said, today we're going to count down the top 5, or my top 5, female-led metal bands, I guess we'll call it. In layman's terms, top 5 metal bands where girls are singing. For the simple people out there. Anyway, a couple things I want to say before we get this underway, because it's kind of a new thing. Number one is that I'm not going to be covering or dealing with kind of the legends of rock and roll or heavy metal. I'm not going to have Joan Jett or Heart or Blondie or Pat Benatar anywhere on this list, because as a heavy metal fan, and I'm sure metalheads out there would agree with me, they are way above any countdown list that I could possibly ever put them on. And this particular countdown is looking at kind of some metal bands and some female vocalists that have been able to excel in the industry because of those people, because of those women. So all these bands are kind of from the late 90s, mid to late 90s, and into the 2000s and present. So you're not going to see any legends on this list. If that's what you were expecting, my sincere apologies. But yeah, here we are. And number 2, we're just gonna clear the air and say that really my positioning of these women have nothing to do with their looks. I'm just going to go ahead and clear the air and say that every woman on this list is sexy, beautiful, and talented. So it just comes down to basically the music where it should be. With that being said, when it comes down to a little bit of background on the band, I'm not going to get too deep into that, because I normally do that with my other countdown videos, but I thought what would be kind of cool is, instead of going too deep into the background of the bands, I thought I would talk to you guys about how I got introduced to these bands and what point in time I started listening to them and all that fun stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it with the number 5 spot on this list. I did my homework again here on my desk, sorry. Well, actually, it's not even homework. It's just little sheets of paper that I have stuff written on. But anyway, top 5 female vocal metal bands. Yeah. The working title, I don't know. You know what I mean by now. But anyway, number 5, and excuse me once again if I butcher some of these names because they're not all American bands. Speaking of which, number 5 is Sharon Del, uh, sorry, Sharon Den Adele from Within Temptation. Uh, they're they started in 1996 and are presently active, and they're a Dutch band. And actually, the interesting thing about Within Temptation is I had no idea they existed until a girlfriend brought them up to me because she knew that I was into metal and all that jazz, and she sent me a link to one of their videos called Angels from their 2004 album The Silent Force, and that was the first song that I heard from them, and I really didn't know what to think because it wasn't the beginning of the song wasn't heavy or anything like that at first, so I was like, what is this? But then it kicked off, and I really fell in love with the band. So yeah, thanks to Angels in the 2004 album, The Silent Force. Shannon Den Adele of Within Temptation takes the number 5th spot. Number 4 spot goes to Annette Olsen of Nightwish from 2007 to 2012. The band is still active, but she is no longer with the band. She parted ways in 2012. And the reason why specifically I have chosen this singer of Nightwish is because this is, I have nothing against the other two. She is the middle one, but she is the one that was singing at the time that I got introduced. And I remember the first song that I ever heard was a song called Amaranth on their 2007 Dark Passion Play album. And the reason why I remember it is because it was about time for their next album to come out. Or it just had or something. And a friend of mine who happened to be a Nightwish fan had posted the Amaranth video on Facebook and was like, really heavy. He wasn't talking to me specifically, but he was like, great band. And being the lover of heavy metal that I am, of course, I checked it out, and I fell in love with Annette and Nightwish. Like I said, I have nothing against the other two singers. I think they're both great in their own way, and they both kind of add their own flavor to Nightwish, but Annette was the one that really started me off on Nightwish, and I've been a fan ever since. Again, that was the first song I ever heard of theirs was Amaranth off their 2007 album Dark Passion Play. Number 3 is Carly Smithson from We Are the Fallen. Now, We Are the Fallen is a special case, and this is probably one of the spots on this list that I'm going to talk the most about, because Carly Smithson I've been a fan of ever since I saw her on American Idol. And so she had her run on American Idol, And then she pops up out of nowhere with some of the guys, well, basically the founding members, the founding bandmates of, excuse me, of Evanescence, which is another band that I love, as you'll see later in the countdown. Spoilers, by the way. Uh, anyway, to that point, for all those people that say that We Are the Fallen is just a cheap knockoff of Evanescence, I think that's a very poor way to look at it, because yes, We Are the Fallen is very Evanescence-esque. I mean, if you look at, the type of music they play, the style they play it in, and the members of We Are the Fallen are from Evanescence. They even draw their name, We Are the Fallen, from the Fallen album. But to say that they are exactly the same, or, ripping off each other, and, all the negative things that have been said on YouTube, referring to We Are the Fallen's videos, I think it is in very poor taste, because I think that individually, sure, they draw, We Are the Fallen draws off Evanescence. That's fine, I don't have a problem with it. But they both, Evanescence and We Are the Fallen, have their own, you know, independent things in my eyes, and they both have a lot to offer. They both offer a lot, and I like both of their individual sounds. So, to everybody that has a negative opinion on Carly and her band, piss off, I guess. The first time I heard We Are the Fallen, I was actually, coincidence enough, trolling through some Evanescence videos, and then I saw the 2010 album We Are the Tear the World Down. Sorry, I got mixed up in my notes here. Which was the title track, Tear the World Down, from the album from 2010, Tear the World Down, which is the only album that they have at the current moment, which makes me kind of sad. I hope to see a lot more. But, like I said, big fan of Carly Smithson from American Idol, and I was very happy to see a band that fit her, and a band that had elements that I cherish. So number 3 belongs to Carly and the guys from We Are the Fallen. Number 2, I don't think anybody will be too surprised at this one, is Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. I really don't have too much to say. Hailstorm has been around since 1997, and they were kind of a band that I started listening to in passing. I'd listen on YouTube to some metal stuff, and then on the recommended videos, occasionally a Hailstorm song would come up, like Love Bites, Miss, geez, I don't even know. Love Bites, Apocalyptic Love, just a bunch of random songs. So I'd listen to them in passing, and I liked what they had to play. But I don't think it was really until I heard Hailstorm cover Straight Through the Heart by Ronnie James Dio on his 2014 tribute album. That was when I couldn't ignore Lizzie Hale anymore, because she's got some absolute pipes, and for a woman to carry herself the way that she does on stage, and just everything about her screams genuine metal to me, which I'm on the bandwagon 100%, because here's a sexy woman that can really hold her own, and she rocks. Um, so, you know, what more is there to say than that? Um, so, number 2 is Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. And let's just recap before we get to number 1. I know this video has kind of been all over the place, but my notes are all over the place, so bear with me. Alright, so before we get to the queen of metal here, let's do a quick recap. Number 5 is Shannon Adele from Within Temptation. Number 4 is Annette Olson from Nightwish. Number 3 is Carly Smithson from We Are the Fallen. Number 2, of course, Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. And the number 1, my top favorite female vocalist metal band, of course, the queen of metal in my eyes and the queen of my heart is Amy Lee. I said spoilers, so, you know, what else is left? I know there are quite a lot of people that are Evanescence fans out there, and I know that there are quite a lot of people that aren't. More recently, I feel like they've kind of dropped off the relevant side of things, but they're still going strong. They're still around. But to me, as much as I love her, like I said about all these women, they're beautiful, they're sexy, they're talented, and they're just everything to me. As a guy, as a metal fan, it just all comes together. But as much as I love her, I feel like recent years for Evanescence haven't been my favorite. And I can honestly say that I haven't genuinely been on the Evanescence bandwagon since I first heard, of course everybody knows the 2003 Fallen album, where, you know, the interesting, to say the least, video for Bring Me to Life with Linkin Park in there came out, and it was on the Daredevil soundtrack, and, you know, of course, fell in love instantly. But after that, after Daredevil came out and Fallen came out and that tour, you know, came and went, I really don't feel like it was as solid as it was. You know, the albums that have followed are okay. There's songs that they've done that I like, and songs that I don't. But when I think of Evanescence, I immediately think of the Fallen album. And another thing that I think kind of drew me away from Evanescence is the fact that she got rid of all the band members that we grew to know and love, and then, you know, you blink and she's kind of by herself because she felt like she was Evanescence. They felt like they were Evanescence, and they went and joined Carly in We Are the Fallen and done well in their own right. Now there's this war between Evanescence and We Are the Fallen, and like I said earlier when we were covering We Are the Fallen, the whole argument is stupid. Be that as it may, it happened. But when all said and done, I respect We Are the Fallen and Evanescence equally. Amy Lee, I've always been on the Amy Lee bandwagon, and from what I've heard, I'll probably be jumping back on the Evanescence bandwagon, because the former members of Evanescence have agreed to get back together and, do their own thing. I don't know if that's actually happening. I just heard it through the grapevine and read some stuff on it, and it sounds like a definite possibility. So, for all those Evanescence fans out there that feel incomplete because, of all this battling between the two bands and all your, the original members being wishy-washy and Amy Lee standing on her own and whatever, you can feel whole again, I think, very, very soon. So with that, let's just run once again through the entire list real quick before I close here. Number 5, Sharon Denadel, I'm gonna get it, from We Are the Fallen. Number 4, Annette Olsen from Nightwish. Number 3, Carly Smithson from We Are the Fallen. Number 2, Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. And number 1, my favorite female vocalist in a metal band, or female vocally led metal band, however you want to say it, is Amy Lee from Evanescence. And in closing, if there's any bands in this countdown that you are unfamiliar with, I wholeheartedly and fully support you looking them up, checking them out, and maybe you'll understand why these lovely ladies are on my list. With that being said, until next time, card soldiers, I salute you, and remember, we're all mad here.